this is the first time that a cargo railway passed through from ASEAN to China.
Yes, I think this is the very first opportunity.
So can you tell me how would this boost connectivity in ASEAN?
This is good because it's a north-south connectivity between ASEAN and China, and therefore this plan and these ideas has been brewing for the last many decades. But in actuality, they require express train to be able to do so, and because of the Chinese policy of trying to connect throughout the world, it is a very good opportunity because the Chinese economy is also a big economy, and therefore any connection between ASEAN and China logistically would be a big help for the promotion of at least trade and many other things that will follow. When you transport goods, eventually be transporting more people for tourism, and also it will be opportunity for further down the road better connectivity that will move the two blocks of economy together, the Chinese bloc and the ASEAN bloc, and therefore this is a good thing. And this connectivity always be helpful because it broadens the market, it bring specialization of goods and services that can happen, and the trade relationship always boosts every economy that's in this linkage. Therefore, this opportunity of transporting goods from all the way from ASEAN to China, at least the peninsula ASEAN to China in the beginning, is a helpful thing, and this helpful thing will benefit the countries that are connected. I therefore am optimistic, and I think it's a good start. It's just the beginning. Of course, there is a lot more issues that need to be dealt with for this to be.
Okay, let's that. What are the issues?
The issues would be the linkage is good. The cost of the transportation is clearly going to be cheaper than many other modes, but we must make sure that the cost is down in the long run too. The cost cannot go up relative to other way like sea freight, or of course the road service that transporting goods through trucks, which it may not remain always this case unless we work out the cost effectiveness in the long term as well, because other mode of transport also can improve the efficiency, and therefore the cost competitiveness will also be there to be considered in the longer run. In the beginning, it's cheaper to go by train, but in the longer run, it's not clear that it will always remain so. So that's my first point of concern, that we need to keep the cost down and the planning has to be done well. The second thing that I think there's a concern is that the countries that are connecting in between, now the case of Malaysia to China, there would be Thailand, Laos, for example. These countries also need to benefit. If it's just a passing through service, when goods are sent from Malaysia to China, Chongqing, through Thailand and Laos, and Thailand and Laos do not benefit, eventually there will be complications emerge. Therefore, there must be also make sure that the distributed benefits are happening along the way to every economy. Not only by having this direct connectivity that every country, Laos can directly go to China, that's always obvious. They can benefit already. Thailand can go to China directly by ourselves because we are nearer to China than Malaysia. But I think what we need to plan in this flight, this trip that come from Malaysia is that if you want to speedily, expressly move all the way without real stop in Thailand and Laos, it's just a token stop, then the benefits for Thailand and Laos would be less. Therefore, they must plan in this whole plan between these four countries. Eventually, there will be Singapore too that need to plan in this thing. They need to plan to make sure that the countries in between Singapore, Malaysia, and even now it's only Malaysia, but eventually it will be Singapore, Malaysia as well. They need to also take a win-win approach for Laos and Thailand to benefit from passing through Thailand and Laos. I think this has to be worked out proactively now and not just drifting, because eventually the whole process will be smooth when every country benefits along the way. I think at the moment it's too new, therefore they have not worked out the true win-win approach yet. You can see that the rail track are different size. It's also burdensome to transfer goods and services in some case, like in the border of Laos and Thailand. Laos track is the different size from the rest of us, and therefore it takes a lot of effort to reshifting the goods into a different kind of track, and therefore it's costly. Of course, these are not efficient, as well as is the only benefit that Laos would get is to get some fees from this reshifting of goods, but they have to also find some other benefits for Laos. I'm talking on behalf of Laos, for example. They are a smaller economy. Therefore, a lot of good service is going to China and not coming through Laos alone. It's coming through a bigger economy like Malaysia, for example. Therefore, I think Malaysia has to be proactively thinking of Laos, how the transportation of goods from Malaysia to China through Thailand and Laos benefit Thailand and Laos without having to be negotiated and demanded. I think this would be something that I think with foresight the Malaysian side has to work out and has to think carefully. Otherwise, eventually, the whole process going to be some hindrances, at least some tardiness or some slowness in responding, in smoothing out different problems. I think we need to be very careful, and we have to always have thinking the win-win approach. At the moment, I don't see anything in the plan yet. How the linkage of Malaysia to China through Thailand and Laos benefit Thailand and Laos fully. They have to think through this factor.
It's Malaysia-centric.
Correct. I think this is not very optimistic in the longer term for Malaysia benefit. Malaysia benefit in the short run now, but in the long run there will be some hiccups if there is no working out with a win-win approach. Therefore, I'm suggesting that the Malaysian side has to be take initiative in thinking how can the transportation through Thailand and Laos benefit Thailand and Laos enough to give the smooth distribution of benefit. I think this is important. Obviously, these two countries are very vital in connecting to China through the rest of ASEAN. Therefore, the rest of ASEAN has to think carefully. Of course, the Myanmar to China is direct. They don't have to think about this express line because there is a
direct line.
Correct, but they don't have to think of this particular line from going through Thailand and Laos. The whole process can also go through from Malaysia to Thailand to Myanmar and to China. But because of Myanmar have some difficulties internally, therefore the viability is less than through Laos at the moment. It's through Myanmar is harder. But eventually too, the whole express line from Singapore and Malaysia through Thailand will always have to go through Thailand, either through Thailand and then Laos into China, or through Thailand and Myanmar and China. I think the more important equation that the ASEAN region has to think about, particularly Malaysia, is that if you transport goods through Thailand, whether through Malaysia or whether through Myanmar or Laos, you have to benefit Thailand enough. Whether which line you use at the moment, you use Laos as a connecting point. Therefore, you have to think of Laos. Eventually, you have to think of Myanmar too. So what I'm suggesting is that be distributive in benefits, thinking mainly of Thailand as a main junction to connect Myanmar to China and Laos to China. But eventually you have to think of not only Laos now, but Myanmar too. So I think this is something we have to be forward thinking. And usually politicians do not have forward thinking. They think at the present.
No, because politicians only think about the next election.
Correct. And therefore they will miss something, and once the problem comes, then they start solving the problem. I'm suggesting that if they're listening carefully, they have to think proactive, and it will be much more beneficial politically for the Malaysian side to think politically with forward thinking, like I'm suggesting.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Well, when you finish the thing, could you send me the link as usual?
Of course.
And when do you expect this to come out so I can be prepared?
This week.
This week?
Within this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why don't you let me know and send me, please, so that I can keep posted among my constituency of my people here, so they're eagerly listening to our conversation.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.